Monkhood is not about giving up relationships. Monkhood is about entering a bigger arena of relationships. Every single living being is spiritually connected to every single other living being with God in the center. All of us are children of God. The kind of relationship that we have with Him, can we have with everyone else? It depends on the purity of consciousness.
Before we jump into this episode, I'd love to invite you to join this candid spiritual community to hear more conversations that will help you become happier, healthier, and more healed. All I want you to do is click on that subscribe button because I love your support. I love seeing all the comments pouring through, all the love pouring through, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you, whether you're a spiritual seeker or you're just curious about the topic. And we really hope that our conversations will provide you food for thought and inspiration for your own spiritual journey. So join us for honest, candid discussions about spirituality for soul's sake.
Today we are joined by an author, a monk, someone who's dedicated their life to sharing and spreading joy, happiness, and good values in the tone of accessibility. All of his authored books are incredible. I can't wait for you to meet him. His name is Gauranga Darshan Das. Thank you so much for being here with us. I really appreciate your time and your presence. I wanted to jump straight in. You've written amazing books based on the Vedic culture, and I wanted to understand how you can take something that's so ancient and so steeped in history and make it applicable to modern times without losing the authenticity. Is it possible?
It is definitely possible because our great spiritual teachers and spiritual leaders have personally done it. So, for example, the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he presented this great ancient old spiritual texts like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and all in a language that is understood by the whole world. And he has also given us a process, means he kind of dissected the great spiritual science into actionable practices, and he gave us a program, a regimen which we can follow in our practical life, day-to-day life, and experience the joy of spirituality and share that bliss of spirituality with others. So the way we are taught, the way we can transmit. In a similar way, we can transmit to others. So basically, the ancient spiritual truths and teachings become actionable and applicable, relatable, digestible to modern contemporary audience to the degree they see them in action. If they see personal examples of people who have actually been benefited by all this spiritual wisdom, and they are seen very blissful and happy practicing and applying and sharing, naturally they'll get inspired. They'll be inspired to take them in. So as far as explaining them in a contemporary way is concerned, the key thing is realization. So when we learn something, and when we try to reflect on it, contemplate on it, apply it in our lives, we realize it. That knowledge will become realization by reflection and by application. When we have an experience of reflecting on the knowledge that we have gathered, and we also have an experience of applying it in our lives, it will convert into realization. And with that realization, equipped with that realization, we can share it with others in a relatable, digestible manner. Does it answer your question?
I think so. I think that what intrigues me is when we try to translate things in a digestible manner, sometimes some of the truths and the lessons and the themes of books like the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, the great Bhagavad Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes I feel that it can get watered down. And I guess how to keep the truths alive in the original format as well, because I think obviously people are looking for quick, easy, step-by-steps, ABCs, acronyms and analogies, etc. And I guess that my concern or my worry is that the authentic truths get lost. Do you have a fear of that also?
There is a possibility. when we are not rooted in our loyalty to the Parampara. Parampara means the chain of spiritual teachers and spiritual students. So when we are not loyal to them, then it may get lost. We can be creative in transparently transmitting these transcendental teachings for the transformation of people. That creativity has to be there, but the creativity must be within the boundaries of loyalty. So when we cross the boundary of loyalty, in the name of making it appealing to some new audience or getting their attention, if I dilute it, as you said, if we water it down, if we dilute it, then its authenticity is lost. But that message, if you present it in a manner that is understandable by people with an example that they can relate with. For example, you see deity worship. So we worship the deity forms of the Lord, Radha, Krishna. So when we worship those forms, people may question, why we have to worship this kind of forms made of stones or metals? Right? What is the logic behind this? Then Srila Prabhupada explained it. You put a letter in a post box. Okay. And that letter will go to the person whom you want. So now that post box is a representative of the government. Okay. So once you put in an authorized post box, it will reach that person. Right. Okay. So Prabhupada explained that deity worship concept with that post box example. But nowadays we don't see post boxes so much.
Right.
Right? We have emails, we have instant WhatsApp messages, you can take a video call also. Now, that post box analogy was relevant 50 years back, and it was not there in the scripture. Post box was not there in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or whatever. In those days it was not there.
No.
But it was there 50 years back. Prabhupada used that analogy. Now, to explain this concept, we can use a contemporary analogy, right? But the message has to be retained. So the way we explain things can vary according to the audience that you're addressing, the kind of examples.
Place, circumstance.
Exactly. Time, place, circumstances, and candidates. Right? When you're explaining this Bhagavatam to small children, you explain it in a relevant way, in a way that they can understand. And if you feel that they're unable to understand it completely, the way it is written, then you reduce the dosage. Don't change the medicine.
Wow.
Right? So medicine remains the same. The quantity, the dose that you give them may be little less. Okay. And the form in which you give them. For example, a child is unable to accept a bitter medicine. An adult can take it. He understands. He has intelligence. Child says, I will not take it.
It has to be sweet.
It has to be sweet. What will the mother do? Mother will do some sugar coating or put that medicine inside some sweet and then inject into the mouth of the kid. So that kind of doses can be changed. Presentation form can be changed. Content should not be changed.
I love this idea of loyalty to spiritual teachers. Nowadays, we live in a world where people like to dig in different places. Like you have, say, for example, you have a body of water underground, and people will take lessons from this place and then take a little lesson from this. It's like digging 6 meters here, 3 meters here, 1 meter here, 12 meters there. But if you just dug in one place with loyalty, the same water would be achieved. And love of God or taking up spiritual practice, for example, that loyalty in one sense is required. However, we've seen a lot of people misguided in the world, placing their faith and their loyalty in teachers who are unscrupulous, that have other motivations. We see it even in the purest of societies, even in the purest of practice, like, for example, we're both part of a practice of Krishna Bhakti. And even there's discrepancies. Teachers do questionable things. The question I want to ask you is, how does one discern? How does one tell whether I should be loyal to this particular teacher? What are the things that come to mind when it's choosing a particular teacher?
When we choose a particular college or when we choose a particular product, we see its brand. When we choose a particular college just to get an admission for, say, BTech or Masters, we see which university is it affiliated to.
Right.
Who are the popular professors there. What is the teaching standards and the overall education inculcation formats there? So you have heard about it, okay? You have heard a lot about it and you knew it, and you are seeing the products, means you are seeing the people who passed out of the college in flying colors, and they're doing very great. So that kind of gives a testimony for the authenticity of the college. For example, you are choosing a brand, you want to take a phone, you choose a particular brand and you know the authenticity of the brand, and you also see what is your pocket, how much budget you have. So based on all these considerations, you come to certain conclusion, right? So when it comes to spirituality, unfortunately, people think that I have an opinion about spirituality. For example, when my phone is not functioning, I will not go to a car mechanic. Okay.
Doesn't make sense to do that.
When my knee, I have some knee pain, I will not go to an ENT specialist, right? And even if I go, the ENT specialist will say that, I am not this doctor. Better you go to some knee doctor.
Right.
Okay. He says that. They have that honesty and integrity to say that. But when it comes to spirituality,
So
everybody
vague.
thinks that I am authorized to say.
Right.
I have the knowledge to say, I have the realization to say, I have an opinion to share. So everybody is very confident about it, right? Although they have not studied the scriptures, although they are not sufficiently affiliated to the spiritual path. That's where all the cheating happens, right? But we need to be very diligent and intelligent enough to choose somebody who is actually representing the teachings, actually demonstrating the teachings that they are actually speaking, right? Are they envious? Are they proud? Somebody may speak great teachings if there's a tinge of envy in their hearts, if there's a tinge of pride in their hearts. They have not understood a single syllable of what they're speaking. Sorry, this is a heavy truth.
Yeah.
But the point is, the person's character and authenticity is determined by the kind of qualities that they demonstrate. So, you take any kind of spiritual practice, you take any kind of spiritual path that people follow, some things are common. What are the most common qualities? Compassion, gratitude, satisfaction, tolerance, humility. So these are some core human virtues which have to be seen in anybody, any human being, and especially spiritualist. Are they demonstrating these qualities? And respect.
How does one differentiate between discernment and criticism? Because the nature of discernment is that you're really analyzing someone. I'm trying to think, okay, I found a spiritual teacher and I'm discerning whether they're the right person based on how they exemplify qualities. But then isn't one of the qualities of a spiritualist to not be critical? So if I'm an aspiring spiritualist and I'm discerning between all these teachers, but at the same time I'm like, he's got this problem, and this guru's got this problem, and this guru's got that problem. Can one ever learn like that either? Do you see the predicament?
Got it. So discernment and criticism. Now there is a thin line between the two.
Right.
Definitely. However, discernment is basically choosing right and rejecting wrong. So our mind is that faculty within us that only stores emotions, feelings, thoughts, desires. Mind does not have the ability to discern. Intelligence is that faculty within me that does the discernment, discrimination. What is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is auspicious, what is inauspicious, what is beneficial, what is harmful. All that is done by the intelligence.
Right.
Right? So we have to have intelligent discrimination. We have to have the discernment. Right?
Right. Something's hot, something's cold.
Yeah. Now, the discernment should lead to a positive outcome. Criticism generally doesn't lead to, unless it is constructive criticism. You are criticizing the shortcomings or faults in somebody's work with a pure, sincere intention to see improvement in them, to see betterment in them. That kind of constructive criticism is beneficial to the person. There are feedbacks, there are suggestions, there is little criticism, but when criticism is done with a negative intention to demean the person, disrespect the person, discourage the person, and make the person depressed, that kind of criticism is not beneficial to anyone. So the person who is criticizing in that way is actually exhibiting one's pride and superiority complex over the others. Okay? But discernment is what is good for me, what is not good for me. If the discernment is not there, if we just go by, in the name of not criticizing anyone, if we just lose the quality of discernment, and if we blindly just follow something based on my emotions and whims, I end up nowhere. Right? I may end up in troubles. So we should have intelligent discrimination, discernment. At the same time, that discernment which is sometimes overlapping with the criticism, that should not lead me into negative criticism, right? So I'm not here to discern in such a way that I find fault with someone and depress the person, but I discern in such a way that I should not get cheated.
Right.
In the name of innocence, purity, not critical mentality, no judgmental mentality, I can't be so foolish to get exploited by others. That much smartness we should have.
Right. Wow. So nicely put. You've written a bunch of books. I mean, if you haven't got copies of these are some great reads for each and every one of you to check out. But the most recent one, I believe, is this one, Dhruva. And the subtitle is Relationship and Success Sutras from the Story of a Celebrated Prince. You're a monk? Relationships?
What do I know about relationships?
I got to ask, where did you feel the inspiration about relationships comes from?
Yeah.
Just living a lifestyle that is celibate and dedicated to spirituality.
I don't even have relationship with hair also. Okay. So I'll come to your question, but before that, let me make one statement.
Please.
Monkhood is not about giving up relationships. Monkhood is about entering a bigger arena of relationships.
Wow.
Where you consider every single living being as your family member. Monkhood apparently seems that, oh, this person is giving up his family and entering saffron robes that are like fire, shaving his head. Okay, he is giving up his family, but actually monkhood with spirituality in the center is not giving up family. It is entering a family where you consider the entire world as your family members.
Oh, so true.
Right? So on what basis are we considering the whole world as my family? Answer is simple. You are a child of God. I am a child of God. Although we meet for the first time, we have a relationship. We both are the children of the same Supreme Father, same Lord, right? So we have a spiritual connection with each other. Although we meet for the first time or we meet very rarely, by default, every single living being is spiritually connected to every single other living being with God in the center. All of us are children of God, right? So thus, who else can speak more about relationships than someone who is trying to cultivate a relationship with God and relationship with others based on relationship with God, right? So now, the sutras that I have presented here are not mine, right? They are the most tried and tested and traditional ancient relationship sutras coming from the Parampara, right? Coming from the great spiritual teachers and great spiritualists who have understood what exactly relationship is, right? So we have an eternal relationship with the Lord, and everybody is the Lord's children, and we have relationships with each other. Wow. There's much more we could elaborate, but I don't have that answers here.
I mean, just the way that you explained it makes me want to pick up the book now and start reading it. Yeah. Pearls of wisdom. Avoid prejudice. This is a relationship sutra. Avoid prejudice and adopt empathy while hearing someone's problems. It is half the solution. Clarifying one's intentions instead of concealing them in the name of modesty makes clear communication. We are all like strangers assembled at a restaurant. Why strain relationships for a short time? Dualities won't affect us the moment we understand our dual identities, the body and the soul. And the last one I'll read. Pure intentions and honest expressions maintain sanctity in relations, while hypocrisy strains them. I mean, I could sit with just one of these for a whole day. It's incredible, absolutely amazing. One thing I do want to ask is, these are sutras that you have extracted and, you've taken from the, I guess, from the story of Dhruva, from the Bhagavad Puran, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. That text is so much steeped in a relationship with God. Do you see that a relationship with God is akin to a relationship with all human beings? Is there not a difference? And in that way, like, isn't a relationship with God so pure and so out of this world that we can't really connect that relationship with the relationships of this world?
The Supreme God has several qualities. Okay. Some of the qualities are compassion, gratitude, love, affection, sympathy, empathy, care, concern. All these are there in the Supreme Lord. We are minute parts of God. Technically, in Bhagavad Gita language, we are amshas of God. Amsha. Mama eva amsho jiva loke, Krishna says. Amsha means a part, small fragmental part. So we are all children of the same God. We are all fragmental parts of the same Lord. He has certain qualities. We also inherit those qualities. Okay. So those qualities can be exhibited. Now, the kind of relationship that we have with Him, can we have with everyone else? Depends, right? It depends on the purity of consciousness, okay? Because He's completely pure in His consciousness. If I have pure consciousness, I can connect with Him in pure love, based on pure love. If someone else does not have that pure consciousness, the relationship also is not that gelling with each other, right? Why so many children, small kids, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old kids, why they're attracted to everybody? Because they don't have impurities in the heart. Right. Their senses are not developed. Their minds are not developed. Their intelligence is not completely developed. Potency is there, but it's not yet manifest. So at this moment, what is manifest is their innocence, their sweetness, their simplicity, right? They can't harm anyone.
So desirable.
Therefore, everybody likes to, look at them, interact with them, smile, play with them, because they have no malice. Relationship is there. There is a purity of consciousness. When consciousness is pure, that purity of consciousness makes the relationship very strong. When there is impurity in consciousness, then definitely there is strain, right? So one more thing, one is purity part. Second is, although this is pure, this is also pure. This person is pure, this person is also pure. But there may be a basic incompatibility, right? If there's incompatibility, then also a relationship will not survive, right? Only one person who has a compatible relationship with any single living being in the entire creation, that is God. He can have a very nice, healthy, cordial, compatible, loving, affectionate relationship with every single living being, but a small living being cannot exhibit that capacity. Therefore, our relationships with few people, okay, very close relationships, with more people, right, little cordial relationships, but everybody, it may not be possible, but one small thing. Although there is an incompatibility and there is a lack of capacity in having a very intimate, close relationship with every single living being, I should at least not have any hatred, negativity, envy, jealousy, or grudging mentality towards others. That much I should ensure. So intimate, close, loving, affectionate relationship can be done only with few people. Okay? And general cordial relationships can be done with people in general, anyone whom you meet, even a stranger also. You may not have intimate relationship, you can greet them well. Okay, you can have a very formal kind of relationship, but I should not hold any grudge or envy or hatred towards anyone. That much I should ensure, because I don't have the capacity to give time. Krishna can give time to everybody. The Supreme God can give time to everybody. He can expand Himself into unlimited forms to have an interaction with a person. Customized interaction, personalized interaction. He has that capacity. We cannot have, right? But at least I can have that with few people and not hold any grudge towards anybody. That much we can ensure. As far as compatibility is concerned, I often give this example. We can have chiku milkshake or mango milkshake, but we cannot have a lemon milkshake, right? There's a basic incompatibility between these two. Okay. Similarly, different people have different natures. Sometimes they may not be able to gel with each other. That's understood. At least they should not hate each other. That much we want.
Wow. Such clarity of thought. I just want to appreciate you. Just the way in which you present things is in a way that, for me anyway, I can really digest them. And I just think that if you're appreciating this so far, just drop us a comment below that shows what was there in those sutras. There's so many things that Gauranga Darshan Das has shared with us. Please share something that, has really touched your heart. I want to ask you now a question about the big relationship, the relationship with God. Now, I'm pretty confident that a relationship with God is not an easy thing. It takes time, it takes commitment. And that alone puts a lot of people off because people are like, I just don't have the time. My desire's in a different place right now. Is there something that anyone watching this podcast can do today to create a relationship, a loving relationship with the Supreme Divinity? Is there one quality that you think, today, we should all do this?
Yeah. There are many.
Of
You
course.
asked one, I'll give two.
Let's do two.
Okay. One is chant his names.
Okay. Which name?
There are so many names of the Lord. You can pick up any particular name that touches your heart, but I'll give a scriptural recommendation.
Let's do it.
Okay. So we have several scriptures, and just like if you go to a medical shop, there are so many medicines. All medicines are very efficient, okay, for the purpose they are meant for. But if you have a particular ailment, if I have a particular kind of sickness, I should choose that particular medicine recommended by the doctor. Similarly, our scriptures present so many names of God, so many mantras of God, but which mantra should I choose? Which name should I choose? So the recommendation is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the mantra that is specifically recommended for Kali Yuga people.
Where? Where is it recommended?
It's mentioned in the Kali Santaran Upanishad, right? So our scriptures recommend Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmashanasana. Okay, so there are certain faults that come in this age. In the previous ages, people were more pure, more intelligent, more refined in their thought process. Their physical abilities, intellectual capacity, and mental control, all these are like very refined, very evolved people. But now our intellectual capacity, physical capacity, mental control, all these are very, very basic. Okay?
Not very good, are we?
Yeah, a lot of distractions in this
Right.
world. So therefore, a simplified way of connecting with God is given. That is by chanting the holy names of God. When you chant the names of God, specifically the mantra that I just quoted from the scriptures, so that enables a loving relationship between you and God. And this mantra can be chanted on your beats. You count, you take some prescribed count, okay, and then you chant on your beats. That's one way. But you can also sing it, right, which we have been doing all the while.
I mean, that's
so
my life right
beautifully.
now. Yeah.
So either you sing or you chant, you utter or you meditate, somehow or the other be in touch with the name of God. You can make a relationship with God.
Only Krishna, not Allah, not Ram.
Then let me tell you, Ram, Krishna, Narasimha, Varaha, Vamana, Narayana, all these are forms of the same God, right? There is only one God. There is only one God.
Allah as well?
Huh?
Allah?
Yeah, I mean, those people call God with that name. God is one. Okay, God is one. Different people see Him in different forms, love Him in different forms, connect with Him through different names.
Yeah.
Right? So God is one, but His forms are many. His pastimes are many. The way He reciprocates with different people is multifarious, is variegated. Right? So God is one. Now, like in our tradition, the name of God is Krishna, right? So we chant His name, Krishna, Krishna. Okay. So now through this we try to make a relationship with Krishna. So that's one way. But I said the second way also I will give, right?
Yes, sir.
You hear about His activities. So all our scriptures like Bhagavata Purana, and many other scriptures like we have Ramayana, Mahabharata, and many other Puranas. So all these wonderful scriptures, narrate the activities of God, how he interacted with his devotees, how he reciprocated with devotees, how he destroyed some, miscreants, right, punishing them. Even if he punishes, that's an expression of love. Just like when a father scolds a child for doing some mischief, that's an expression of father's love towards the child, isn't it? It's not that father is hating the child. Father wants the child to be more disciplined. So to discipline the child, he may scold or he may speak little heavily just to correct him, to stop him from doing something wrong. Same is the Lord's case when he tries to destroy some demons or miscreants. So how he actually did it, how he protected his devotees, how he punished the demons, and how he established righteousness, virtue in this world. All these are very nicely recorded in the scriptures. Just by reading through all those, hearing them from people who are aware of them, you can make a connection with God. Chant his names, hear about him. Technically, they are called Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam means you hear about him. Kirtanam means you start speaking about him, or singing about him, or chanting his names. So these are the two most effective ways of connecting with God.
Thank you so much. This conversation has been really nice because it's just nice to be in the presence of someone scholarly, someone that can, bring the teachings of the ancient East into applicable ways. And I heard this quote recently that's been on my mind, that small minds discuss gossip, big minds discuss projects, but great minds, they discuss ideas. And the ideas which you are presenting today have really, they've moved my heart, moved my mind. And I'm deeply grateful for your time, your presence here today. And I genuinely think that every single one of you, wherever you are in the world, get on Amazon or get on any of the bookstores that are local to you and find these three. They're incredible books. I'm going to read this one. This is the one that I'm taking home with me today. But any one of these, check them out. Send us some feedback, send us some thoughts, send us some ideas of how we can bring you authors that interest you. Give us some ideas of people that you want to hear more from at this podcast. But I want to thank Gauranga Darshan Prabhu for your kind time, your energy, for your gentle presence. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Radhika ji, for your invitation and this wonderful, insightful conversation. Actually, you extracted answers from me by asking such wonderful questions.
I don't know
thoughtful
about that.
questions. Right?
Making me look good.
Right. We speak only when there is somebody who is curious to hear and asks very thoughtful questions, right?
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you guys all in the next episode of Soul's Sake. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.
If you love this episode, you'll love my interview with Keshava Swami on serving others and how our life gets ironed out in the process. Go check it out.
When I have managed to find that selflessness, that sense of it's really not about me, but I'm really here as a servant to give, then I found two things happen. The first thing is that our ability to actually really serve others just expands exponentially.